Good morning. Here's my new boss. I'm working the drive-through window at Mickey D's now. uh, all kidding aside, we've had a big move in the crypto markets to the downside. Ironically enough, the number of McDonald's references I can find for crypto there's just too many. It's kind of a little weird. We've had such craziness with the geopoliticals from Iran, Venezuela, on and on. It's a very chaotic world we live in. You had Japan dumping the bonds, the U.S. bonds in the marketplace to support the yen. But it's not all bad. The smart money is accumulating. The institutions, the ones that will hold Bitcoin for very long periods of time, they're buyers. Anyway, enjoy the video. Alrighty, good morning. Here we are after the aftermath of this week's bearish moves on silver, on Zcash. You're going to see all the charts. Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything got crushed this week. And that's kind of a good thing. The price action is mystifying. You see all the buying at the same time. Who are the sellers? It's got to be retail. And they have more power than I thought they had, but that's life. What can you do? The numbers are playing out as they play out. You know my thinking and my ideas because I tell you ahead of time. So I'm going to go. I had live updated videos of me trading real time, and then I looked at them, and it's too long-winded and kind of useless. So what I'm going to do is just go through the charts as I saw them as it was happening and give you a complete picture because you can see everything like what we're looking at with silver right here. This picture encapsulates everything. We have the bullish butterfly that goes all the way back up to the 101 range. You know that I'm focused on this. I'm focused on this diamond pattern that we had here, that we had a breakout that ran up to the 92. And now I'm going to go over and break down why I started to sell. And I just took a head short. I didn't sell. I sold half of what I bought down in this area. And I took a head short in the 91 range. And the reason was because of this right here. I'm going to go back through the chart so you can see what I'm looking at. Remember, throughout my videos over the years, I go about back-end and front-end resistance and pivot points and how they turn and where you look for them to match up with volume. Well, I went through the charts and I found this right here, and this is very key. So I want you to pay attention to this because this is very educational. And let's see if I can get this on these trading view charts that are often a pain in the ass. There we go. Okay, that encapsulates it right there. All right, so we had this move that creates this butterfly that starts its down move right here. This is what's important, though. I want you to notice as we come into here, the volume is still at a high peak, right? And it's gaining momentum. But you got a spike down here. This spike spikes back up, then trades back down to these numbers, breaks below it, but spikes back up into it. Okay, so this is a pivot point. This is what I look for on charts, and this is how I pinpoint often. And I'm going to start pinpointing the back ends and the front ends of charts so you can see some of the price action that I look at. So this was a key point for where I think resistance would appear when we got a bounce. And down here, you knew where I was buying. This was the first low. Right down there, we spike up and then retest and go even under it. So, I mean, these are kind of short-term charts. So, but that was a key focal point right there as well. So we have this right here. This is where it gains momentum. And you can see the volume drop off as we go down to these lows down here. This is where the volume reversed. This is why I became a buyer in this area right here I could see the 1, 2, 3 and the retest right down here, and the volume reversed. Very key here, okay? That is a signal to me. Now, I look at this on multiple exchanges, from interactive brokers to different charting services, and I want to gauge the volume, because some of them, thanks to banks who spoof, can really throw that off. But the general price action is there from the general market, so I can generally spot when they're screwing with the charts. In this case, very easy to see, and this creates the geometry for this triangle that I'm focused on right here. And you can see, all right, so we got our first low down here, we get a bounce up, and it's creating the insides of the triangle right down here. Then we pull all the way back down to retest. We can see the buying happening in the price action. You get wicks and the chaotic nature of the pricing if you watch it on like a level 2 or something. And you see the bids and the asks, how they flow. You can see the buying. You can generally, it's just like reading the tape. And that's one of the books, the tape reading books from Rollo from the early 1900s, over 100 and like almost 20 years ago. The Jesse Livermore tape reading book. It's important to read that because it goes over and gives you rhythm, and you can kind of picture it. It's like playing a musical instrument, I guess you can say. Anyway, this is your center point on this diamond that I looked at. It was created, and we get our low over here. Then we bounce all the way up to the center point of here, creating this geometry. All right, so it's kind of like an inverted head and shoulders as well, but it creates this geometry, and you see this many times through the charts if you go through any of the history of my videos from back in 2016, 17, when I was making videos when I first started with the signal groups. You can see what I look at, and this is very much akin to the past ones that I've shown you. But anyway, so we had our diamond, and then we broke out of the diamond. We ran up to here. This becomes a center point number. This is your real pivot right here that I was watching when all of this was occurring. This is your left and right, and then your break right up there, and you can see how it goes up to the center, falls all the way back down, tests this trend line right here, because it's following the overall natural geometry of this diamond. So when it pulls back over here, it then goes over and pulls back up. It was perfect, basically, because we had the volatility. When there's chaos in the marketplace, the patterns generally in a geometry comes into play, because they're the natural accumulation of the whole market. So it's hard for manipulators to do anything, because they usually get run over because the volumes are so big from the general marketplace. It's the herd, basically. This is the natural formation of the herd. Anyway, so we break out of this triangle. We take out this level over here. We break up, and we have a low over here. So this is my what I'm looking at as a support point, and I traded again. I sold half of what I bought down here over here. This is just a short-term trade. I was going to buy it back, and I did when you got the drop. Of course, it kept going, and not only did it keep going, it went over and took out these levels over here, because this is where the manip money wanted to go over and press it, so they can go over and buy it down towards this low over here. And if we remember, I'll show you in Zcash the same exact thing. This is how I was able to get paid. Let's go and zoom in a little bit here. Just like on Zcash. So when it dropped all the way down to the 64 level, in the 64 range, I was covering all the shorts that I had and buying more to go long. Now I've taken money out from the sidelines, and also just to loan-wise, because this is such a great opportunity. I am extremely positive that we're going to get a good percentage move to the upside here. I am not worried about this move at all. I want to be very distinct on silver, especially. Silver's a very big instrument. It's not small time. It doesn't, silver's a big market. Now, it's not as big as gold, granted, but at the same time, you don't get the volatility in gold that you get in silver. So this is profit-wise my best opportunity besides Zcash. I'll show you that next. But this is what I'm focused on. So when we had this move down to the 64, it found its support right there. And again, back-end support. I want to go back into the charts. Where do you think my two key areas are? I'm going to show you. It's right from this breakout point. So this high right here that you see right there, if we zoom in, very important, okay? I want you to focus on that. So that high right there in the 64, mid 64, 64.48, I believe it is, anywhere in there. Every broker is going to be different. That is a primary support point. That's where I started to sell and said this market is extremely overbought. I've got a pattern right down here, and at some point in the future, it's going to trade all the way back down to here, but not yet. And we'll see that with the exaggeration, like with Zcash, why that's not the case. All right, so anyway, this over here, important. We break out, go up to here, and then pull back. And guess what? This pullback number is right here. It intersects with that, right? So that's how you get a pivot point. That's your back end. Front end was more like what I showed you over here. This is the front end of the chart. This is the back end of the chart. This is where you can just split it down the middle and the geometries and see the previous price action from where previously it ran upwards, right? You had the up move. So this is all the bull move. The back end is where you had the down move. All right, so when I say front end and back end, that's what I'm talking about. And you can reverse that if if it's a down move instead of so vice versa. But that's very key right there. All right. So that right there is your major pivot point. That's why this became a extreme support point. Besides it being extremely over sold, and I can go to the percentages, 200% off of here, the geometry, all of that. That's not important right now. What's important is what we have in the charts as they stand and what we're looking at. And love this trade. And yes, I'm going to take money out, and even if I'm fully loaded, and I wish I had more cash in the sidelines where I didn't have to borrow, but still, that's I'll do it. I'll pay a certain percentage per year, depending on how long I hold on to the money. It's not a problem. Not when I have a potential trade that's going to go over and yield a good percentage. I can close out a certain amount after reaching whatever percent that I know it's going to cover for the whole year. So I'm fairly good at calculating these numbers, as you know. Not worried about it. You always put risk when you do something like that, but I can afford it. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, so I took the money out, and I went into silver bigly from these numbers and under, and you can see we've popped all the way back up to here. So this is one of them. Now, I'm going to show you the Zcash chart, because that's also important, because this plays off of the silver movement. Both of these had extreme exaggerations, okay? And I gave you the zones of which Zcash was going to trade into, and it pretty much did that to a T. Let's go to a 4-hour chart so you can see the bigger picture. But as you know, I gave a target on Zcash off of this right here, all the way back into the 225 mid, this 20. Different brokers, it's going to be different, but it's around 225, I believe the low is, right? Let's see if I can find I'd have to zoom in. I hate these charts. This one shows 2650. on Coinbase. Anyway, in that area right there, very key. And we've traded down and under this target level that I was looking for, and we went all the way down to the 180s range. Of course, I was buying in the low 200 and in the 180 range on this down move. And this silver and Zcash are two of my big ones right now that I'm trading. And this is purely for profit because I'm not making any money in Bitcoin. I chose the wrong direction. I did not sell the 200% level, which I should have. But I'm going to hold it. I could hold it for years. That's fine. I've done very well. I've got numbers that go all the way down. My cost basis is probably in the negative numbers because of all the trades that I've had on it. So it's not a problem. But it would have been nice to have hedged at least 50% at that 200% level. And I'll show you my mistake as well. Because I will humble myself to the marketplace. I'm not always right. The goal is to become better and to pay attention to what the market can do. You're not going to always be right. And in the Bitcoin's case, I was wrong. I was looking for an upside breakout. Didn't get it. Didn't hedge as much as I should have. I had so many trades that were profitable on the short side because we were, selling up there. That I decided I don't need to hedge, and I probably missed out a good amount of profit, but that's my fault, and I'll suck it up and say, okay, let's reevaluate that, and maybe I became too much of a believer for a period of time, but that's okay because ultimately I'm expecting Bitcoin to go up to numbers that are in the 400,000, 500,000 range longer term. So whatever, I'll wait it out. In the meantime, though, I'm going to be focused on trades like this with Zcash. And this is the one trade I was talking about, the 45% return and up that I was looking at. This is an easy 40-something% return if we get back to these numbers in the 300 range, which is going to be the pivot point. If you remember, when this took off, again, Backend right here, spiked up, pulls all the way back down to its center point. This right here is a key point. These 2 points right here are your key center points. And you can see where it turned and reversed back upwards. Had this extreme range. This was just nuts. I was a seller all the way up, and then trading it, buying as it went lower to this small short-term top, and doing this again and again. Here was a major buy point for me, of which I traded up to here, and that was a great trade. Another, around 38%, something like that. And then we created this like butterfly, and it truncated kind of early, but this is not the predictable phase. This is where you go into and you throw the dice because you don't know when it's going to break down. And so it did break down and finally get to its target level all the way down here. And so on Zcash, you can see everything that happened here, and the heat on there was amazing. So that was a great trading opportunity. And now it's once again a great trading opportunity. It's dropped all the way down to these levels down here. I started buying under 220. I added at 200 and then 180 range. So you can see what I'm looking for. It's very clear. I'm looking for the 300. So this is a trade that is on a percentage basis going to do very well. So like silver, this is another one that's just, those two are kind of akin to each other, even though this is a much smaller issue and silver is a much bigger. They're trading for like action. They're getting this extreme volatility. So that's kind of exciting in a way because that equals great profitability. As long as you play it from the right ends and you trade it logically, like what we're doing. Your risk is minimized and your returns are maximized. Again, these two charts showing you how they move and like movement is very key. So we've had this big move down. Where do we go now? Well, we're going to get a bounce more than likely, and you know where I'm looking for. I'm looking for the 309 range on Zcash. I'm looking for silver to get back up to the 101 range up here. This is going to be a lot of fun, is all I can say. These charts are absolutely nuts, and they're repeating across the board. I've seen a lot of other charts I could have traded, but they didn't really have the volume dynamics. They were not as perfect as these two charts here, so I kind of just ignored them. You have GME, the breakout from here. I'll point this out here. This is looking better and better. This is unfazed by the whole market movement that we had. And at some point, I'm expecting we're either going to get a breakout or we're going to trade all the way back down to these numbers down here. So that'll be interesting. So GME's not really doing anything. This one right here, MSTR, look at this. It's at the 80% range, if you remember. And I'm going to go to Metaplanet next because those are key. That's another one that I added to. And somebody pointed out, one of the members that has followed me for years, pointed out that we went down to the 182 number that I've spoke about on Metaplanet. Well, let's go to here on strategy. This is Mike Wholesaler's concern, his company, and he traded to the 80%. Now, if you remember, in the this represents up here in the 400% range, which was very key. I did not keep those numbers on there. I kept them on other charts, but I did not keep them on that one. The 423 on Metaplanet was up here, never reached, but it did reach it on Master. Now, what happens often when you hit that 400% range is you will retrace the majority of the time to 80%, even up to the 88.6% level. So these two areas are very key. So it hit one already at 119, and the next one is down all the way in the $73 range, I believe it is. So this is very possible, but this is going to get an extreme bounce. And at some point in time, we're probably going to retest these levels up here when Bitcoin runs in the future, in the next few years. So this is the area that you're looking for, that people are going to be buyers if they're smart money. They're going to be, the institutions really want to buy in this area right here. This is what happens the majority of the time. Now, the smart money probably, the real smart money is waited on the sidelines for this to come into this area. And this is an accumulation area right here. So that's good that we had strategy get under the 80% range, because now the statistics go back up to the upside. The market's been dragged down with a pullback. It's a really strange market. Bitcoin is actually positive, but shows a price action has been negative and to the downside. MSTR actually should have been negative, and it was showing as positive. It's a very strange market. It's kind of very mixed up. But nonetheless, under the 80% mark, statistically, the numbers start to reverse back to the upside. The 232 is going to be, this is your pivot point, right? 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be an area of interest right up here. It's going to have to trade back up to there. So on a percentage basis, that's like 100% return, right? After getting to these numbers down here. That's the conservative numbers. Then you got numbers that go all the way back to its old highs. And I don't have to tell you the returns that you're going to get on something like that. So the bigger money, the smarter money, is going to be looking to hold longer term and take the risk, the bet for that. Now, let's go to my Metaplanet. the one that I was buying, because we broke the prior lows where I was buying down here under 220, and I started to buy again in the 180 range. Excuse me. When I talk in long periods, my throat gets dry. I should really get like lozenges or something when I'm making these videos. That might be a good idea. That might be smart. But anyway, let's zoom in here. You can see the break that we had here in Metaplanet. And this is my favorite one to trade. This ran all the way up to almost $4 from these lows over here. It was really oversold. The people that were short sellers covered. I wish I would have hedged because, again, we go right up to here, we zoom in, and this is one I did not hedge on. If we zoom right into here, we can see here's your breakdown right there, breaks all the way under there, comes all the way back up to here, this gap point. If you see a gaps are another thing that I pay a lot of attention to. And this is also a center point right there. But anyway, you can see it's very clearly from that 340 range and up. This is resistance. And the next resistance up, if it breaks that, is going to be from this right here. And then this spike right there. You look for the high lows, how they intersect. And this was the 371 range and right into there. So this whole area becomes congestion. I can go back further in the chart, look for points like right here. You're looking for little ups and downs, that little 1, 2, 3s that bump from each other. And this kind of gives you a total good picture to average out of where you would buy or sell. And unfortunately, I didn't pay attention to the Metaplanet, which is sad because I have a good amount of it. I would have liked to have short hedged somewhere in this range right here, but I was trading other ones. So, all right, no big deal. Again, not perfect, but I did recently buy in the 180 range. And I don't have to be perfect. I think I got around 185, 186 the numbers, which is fine. I'm not going to try to be perfect. 82. I think it went down to 82. Yeah, it went down to 82. You can get a better picture if I pull up a 5-minute, because you can see a divergence that formed right into that number. But I was, was not fighting for the price action right down here. When it went down to these levels right down here, I bought into it. I got a little spike down to the 82, but anyway, so that's my next entry. And then where do we go from here? Well, the 60-cent range would be the next one down. I'm not looking for it to get back down there. I think we're going to have to fill these gaps to the upside, like this one up to 283. I mean, on a percentage basis, if I just wanted to trade from down here all the way up to here, that's pretty sweet. And I think you can get that with a fair amount of ease. It's already at 223 in the pre-market, so it kind of shows you. But that's Metaplanet. And we see the price action that's happened on this. This is now cycled through completely. This is able, it's hit its 88% level and under mark. And that's the 270 range, I believe, was its major pivot. So, we're good. We're all these charts, this washout that we've had, are able to now reverse back to the upside. It's been the downside sellers have been extinguished, at least short term. There might be some retests, but the volume, if you watch it after this violence, is probably going to be greatly diminished. Now, the smart money, the big institutions and so forth, they're going to see the volumes become diminished, and they're going to start to accumulate with a larger degree of enthusiasm. So watch the ETF inflows. They'll be interesting in the coming months because you're probably going to see them expand, and that'll be a true sign of a reversal. We are likely to still get spikes down that are going to be maybe even larger in size and fast, because the volume and the disruption that this has caused is going to leave gaps and empty pockets, I guess you can say. But the smart money is going to see the emptiness, and they're going to start coming in and accumulating. That's just the nature of how the charts work. And I've done this for such a long time, and that's the way it is. But anyway, in the future, you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for numbers that get all the way back up to here. So us being in a $2 range is kind of silly. But the future is very bright. And yeah, I like the numbers that I see. Anyway, let's go to Bitcoin. Let's see its move. We went down to the low 60K range. Now we bounced. This might be completely it. This might never hit the 61.8. It's so close when you get an extreme like that. But that's not the statistics. Statistics are, if you remember me going over and showing you this in the past, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your 61.8. Nothing to think about. That's your start point right down there. When you get a 5-wave pattern, retraces to here before continuation. And that's what it was. Never got that 98 500 area, only went up to around 98K. So it went under. But I was looking to head short. Oh, such a pisser. But those are the charts. I don't get to make the rules. I just follow them. Gets up very close. You can see my angst in here. Look at that. Look how close it gets right up there. What did I do wrong? How far did we get? We did not hit 98.500. Did I calculate these numbers correctly? I did. I don't even have to look. But I could have went a little bit lower and 97, but I didn't do that. So, you know, I can't beat myself up over it. It was still, I traded it the right way. And it's just hard when you don't get, good perfect entries, and you're used to getting near perfect entries. It really did not test this breakout point, but kind of got close enough. So that's a heartbreaker. But anyway, here's your 61.8, the 58K, and we got so close to there. So there's still time for us to go up and to go right back on down to test this. And that's what happens the majority of time on 5-way patterns with good geometry and pricing. And so that's what's there. That's what's I have to factor in. The good thing is that we've flushed out so much of the lingering sellers that it now becomes very likely to become very good for trading. You're going to get likely volatility up and down in larger ranges instead of this dragging price where it's just ugly. Things are likely to become more exciting. So that's good in a way. We'll see how that plays out. But the market has changed its dynamics with the crush that we've had. Everybody sees it as being such a negative thing. I kind of see it as being a very positive thing. I see many opportunities. Silver and Zcash are two of my favorites right now. There are many others I'll have to look at if there are any good, learning elements for the charts, but I don't want this video to be any longer than it is. It's already long. I've droned on and on, but I love what I've seen, and I see lots of opportunity. And the charts, Silver and Zcash, have just been perfect. They've done exactly what I wanted them to do. Trading all the way down to here and flushing all the way down to here. Great opportunity. Again, I'm not emotionally driven. This doesn't affect me. A lot of people that I've talked to, they felt this, and that's a really good sign of a bottom as well. When they feel it, they're physically, they feel, it's painful, but yeah, I mean, even I can sense that, but I don't let it affect me. I'm focused my energy on getting my entries when I have this opportunity, because to me that's all it really is. It's an opportunity, and all I can do is use the money. And look at that, just beautiful. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you found it educational and entertaining, and you know what I'm looking at, my ideas. Next week I'll bring up some others like Ethereum. I'm not even looking at right now. It's not really interesting in the chart. I can look at it right here. It's just been a total bloodbath on Ethereum. So what can we expect on Ethereum? Well, I know we're going to likely trade all the way back up to this 300 area. So if you're asking about that, you can see the volume increasing on the downside right here. Very interesting the way this fleshed out on Ethereum. But anyway, I'll go over with focus on that one next week. I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy your week.